Hello you guys, I'm the RPG Recusant and welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy 13. We just finished the battle with Odin. Was super duper stressful, but we are moving on, and as I say, on getting a character's Eidolon, they get an extra ATB bar, so Lightning now can do 4 attacks. Snow also got this benefit, but we kind of didn't play as him since.
Let's see.
Got my back?
Yeah.
But right now it's going to show you the power of the Eidolons. So the Eidolons use the TP bar. So we've been using our TP to primarily cast Libra, but now that Lightning has her summon Odin, she's able to summon using 3 TP bars. That's the same gem we've been seeing in the Crystarium, kind of the source of the Lassie's power. And now in unleashing that, Odin appears. Now as our ally. So Hope vanishes, it just becomes Odin with Lightning versus the world. The Odin summon has like a bar, it'll go down over time or if he takes damage. But the more Lightning and Odin combo together, Lightning's Gestalt bar will grow, and then when she enters Gestalt mode, the higher that bar is, the more powerful her Gestalt summon powers in Gestalt mode will be. So we're currently using Commando, and like Odin is doing work, doing lots of like just damage, casting thunder and whatnot, building up that stagger. Realistically, I probably could have been doing her as a Ravager. I could have also been like leaving the Gestalt a lot longer, but I figured that was probably enough. Let us just hop into Gestalt mode. So that's how we won the fight, but this is actually just a second version of how we can use the summon. So you basically push a direction and hit enter. So we're able to do like aerial lightning attacks, side slashes, and all these different abilities cost different amounts to the Gestalt. And obviously the higher we built that, the more different actions you can do. And then finally it'll finish with the ultimate move, Zantetsuken, which can lead to a potential instant KO.
Until next time.
And Odin is gone. We won't be able to summon him again, but as you say, we've gone from having like 6 or 7 soldiers and 2 of those big weaponry things to a much more manageable 1v1. And what's nice as well, I really want to point this out, her dialogue to Hope now is so much kinder. It's like, keep up with me, Hope, follow my lead. You know, if we harken back, Lightning's whole vibe was stay out of my way and just, you know, don't get in my way, don't be messing up or whatever else. But as your paradigm change now, she'll be a lot kinder and a lot more supportive towards Hope, which is amazing. And we 5-starred, and you see, yeah, summons deplete the TP gauge an awful lot.
Stop here.
And there's going to be a cutscene, so I'm going to just leave it. But it's again a lot more of a softer side to Lightning.
I'll look around. You rest
Because
up.
again, this is a 14-year-old child. He is tired and not able for the constant onslaught of craziness that has happened. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and pick it up after the cutscene.
Not by a long shot.
So yeah, it asks to save the game, and now we're picking up with Sazh and Vanille, who just went their own way. And it seems that they're after finding this little industrial estate that is being manned by Pulsework robots. And we're gonna be spending a lot of time here.
No sign of soldiers.
Guess lightning got their attention.
I wonder how Hope's doing.
They were headed towards Palimpolum. Kid's on his way home. You can bet on it.
Good for him. What's wrong?
It's good. If they manage to slip in quietly. All of Cocoon is in the grip of pulsephobia. If a Lassie pops up on the radar, all hell will break loose.
They don't even know why they're scared.
Afraid of what they don't know. Afraid to find out more. It gets worse the older you get. I'm terrified of what'll happen. The world probably would be better off without Pulse Lassie. I mean, most of them.
Gee, thanks. Let's go.
They really do have quite a wholesome relationship, but like, you know, Sazh just getting into like the complexity of human psychology and like people just fearing what they don't understand, and the fear of the unknown is like such a primal human response, and that ultimately Hope and Lightning
We're going back.
going towards a populated city as Pulse Lassie could cause another purge like what happened in Bodom. But the sneaky devs, they were like, oh, you know, we tried to go backwards when it was with Hope and Lightning, but there was treasure that time, so that was good. Now, to the Crystarium. Sazh has now unlocked Commando, and we're gonna really want to build that up as much as possible. There's not an awful lot there, and it does cost an awful lot. You know, 380 to get to like one node, whereas if we compare it to, let's say, Ravager, you know, 90 to get to another stat in Ravager. So the times at which they developed these particular roles completely changes the amount of EXP needed for each of them to level up. So Sazh had Ravager first, and then Synergist, and then Commando. So similarly, Medic and Ravager for Vanille are going to be similarly, you know, the same price. There's just way more nodes in them, whereas Saboteur is going to cost that little bit more, while Commando for Sazh, since he unlocked that last, it's, you know, an awful lot less nodes and an awful lot more CP to move around the nodes. So that's where you do kind of have to pick your roles and kind of see, okay, what benefits are each of these roles giving me? What are they kind of worth? We're going to pick up and change up some of the paradigms as well.
Robots must have built all this.
Variety is the spice of life. I'm going to make a quick save. And again, I just don't want you guys to see how late in the evening I was playing this game. I was playing it all over the Christmas time at like 2 and, you know, later in the morning. So I'm like, let's just keep that to myself. We don't need to see how long and late I was playing.
The old man
But
still got it.
what we just fought, very briefly, was a bomb. And basically, they heal themselves by doing fire damage, and then they initiate a self-destruct mode. You'll know them from Final Fantasy X. The bomb's a very classic enemy. But the problem with the bomb is, the more HP they have when they self-destruct, the more damage they do. And their fire attacks actually do go in like a little area of effect. So if they do fire attacks together, they're actually able to like heal the other bomb that's beside them. And as you can see, this bomb like is pretty full health. And unfortunately, when he explodes, it was an awful lot of damage. But again, I have to keep harping on about this because it's something that people give out about Final Fantasy 13. They say, oh, the parties are so restrictive. You can't choose who you want to play with. But it's actually building the character relationships so much. You're able to have all these incidental dialogues in combat that are so much more personalized because there's less variables for all the different, you know, parties that could be in play, you know? Like, Sazh is like saying add a girl to Vanille, and like Vanille is saying like, you know, be careful Pops and all the rest. Like, if we could just have access to any and all of the different characters that we wanted, we wouldn't have, you know, these different specified and specific, you know, combat, I suppose, conversations. And as you can see, I don't know why I didn't stagger the bomb first. Really should have. But look, the bomb exploded, but the Pulsework soldier isn't going to do anything. We survived the explosion, thankfully, and now, bada bing, bada boom, the Pulsework soldier is no more.
You should see your daddy now.
I could say something, I won't say something, I'm not saying anything. Moving on. Yeah, Sazh and Vanille very much are the glass cannon sort of playstyle, in that Sazh is the offensive synergist buffing of the party, Vanille is the debuffing of the party, or of the enemies rather. And this little line here from Vanille is very important. She's saying that like there's all these different machines, but they all seem to not be working. And basically a little bit further in this episode, we're going to eventually turn on the power to progress forward. But if we then come backwards, we get a whole bunch of extra treasure, extra encounters, and yeah, here's where self-destruct is really bad, because Vanille unfortunately, you know, took a huge amount of damage there, and now we're kind of going, okay, let's, you know, get up our bit of faith here, and give faith to Vanille, and then get back onto the offensive.
Watch and learn, kid.
Or, you know, just give myself all the buffs. Why not? Again, very silly. You never, and you should really never start building Stagger with just the 2 Ravengers. You don't have the sustainability. Do some commando damage. Get around halfway. Then you're able to swap to your magic damage. Or, as you say, have a Ravenger and a Saboteur. Do the debuffing. Like, you know, there's a variety of different tactics out there. But, you see, the bonus for Commando is that they give a damage buff to all damage types, and that includes your magic. So even though you might say, oh, 2 Ravengers would build a stagger bar way quicker, it's like, 1, the Commando will slow it down, but the Commando is also giving a damage boost to all of your party's, you know, damage, be it magical or physical. But we're going to come back to that little machine there, and that's going to become really important. Finding a lot of accessories as well. They think the auric bracer back there. So like in general, never skip an L treasure chest. They are they are important, and they could definitely hold a game-changing accessory. Not doing as much Libraing. I'm getting nervous, like looking back over this commentary, being like, or content, giving the commentary, being like, Liam, why aren't we doing Libra? These were definitely new enemies. Subpar feeling there. But a handy little trick you can do is if you run to those enemies and then run back and jump back up the area there, it actually respawns the enemies, and it's a pretty quick little loop that you can do just to get a nice handy chunk of experience, because the bombs themselves, you know, blow up quite quickly, and it's just a handy kind of, you know, 41 EXP. And you know, you've actually reset the encounters for the entire level up there. So if you wanted, and that's something that I did do, I ran all the way back and ran through all the different encounters just to get ourselves a little bit more of a boost, and just so we can run through the Crystarium another time. But I'm going to be cutting out a good few of the repeat encounters, just because, like, you've seen them, and just for your own sake, definitely Libra the enemies whenever there's new ones to be had, you know. You get a trophy lore master for having gained all of the information on over 100 enemies. And not that there isn't 100 enemies, but like, if you only started late at a certain point in the game, it is potentially missable. So we just don't want that. And so, you know, just use Libra. And in general, it is just useful because, for example, these particular creatures are actually weak to magic more so than physical attacks, you know? And your characters, both the AI for your auto battle and the AI for your companions, they're just going to throw random stuff and then eventually learn, oh, it's immune to this or it's resistant to that. But Libra can just tell you all of that in an instant. Now, this particular area, just Pulsework Soldier and the little penguin man. You know, this particular area, you have to basically run around 4 different buttons, activate them, and it will restart the power to let you progress forward. But the real stickler here is, and it's because you need to like keep an eye out for that ambient dialogue that Vanille says, which Vanille was like, oh, it doesn't seem to have any power. That's so strange. But now that you've basically go to this area, turn on the power, you can backtrack and get a ton of really challenging encounters, as well as some very beneficial loot for weapon upgrading and weapon crafting and CP in general. Like, this is particularly the party that is the most delicate, I would say, since you don't have the double dose of having 2 medics. You don't have the protective buffs from Hope to kind of increase your survivability, so you only have Vanille to heal. So, you know, it really is the case that you need to be buffing yourself, debuffing the enemy, or, you know, just going all out offense to take out the enemies really quickly. But I also like the fact that we're not just constantly fighting soldiers, that like there are a variety of different enemy types, and it is kind of making sense that, you know, Lightning and Hope and Snow have kind of all gotten the army's attention and they're in pursuit of them. And now we have kind of Vanille and Sazh just making their way through kind of more pulse-worky sort of areas with like pulsework machines and artificial, you know, machinery and enemy types, you know? It's nothing to do with SciComm or like the modern technology of Cocoon. It's all these ancient, you know, slightly shambling, you know, not as sleek and modern as Cocoon. But we have spark plugs, which those little shambling soldiers give, the little metalwork guys. They can drop spark plugs, which are great EXP for money. And I'm kind of hearing a treasure chest. And I was kind of standing there like, where is it? Where is that treasure chest? And again, I know I'm skipping a lot of the battles. It's because they're all kind of the same. And ultimately, it's like, oh my god, we have been in the junkyard area for eternity. I just want to get somewhere.
Way to go!
But now that we've activated this, we can now go back and check out all these different areas further back that we couldn't get to before.
We can take it.
And I really didn't seem like it was fair to you guys to be like, oh, let's end the episode here, where the next episode after that we're going to immediately backtrack, do a bunch of extra fights, and then go forward. So I was like, look, I'm gonna cut the battles, just leave you with the star rating, leave you with the CP that like you can get if you're trying to like
This thing must be
tracking your XP or CP or whatever you want to call it. And how did she do that? She was behind me, then she's like way ahead of me, and then, I don't know, that was wild. Didn't like that Vanille. That whole teleportation act scared me. But after that little gauntlet, after that little merry-go-round, we're gonna just give a quick little boost to our gang. And I swear, my menuing would not get me into a speedrunning success. I fumble so much. It's not even funny. But if you make your way all the way back to just up above here, you'll see that the elevator I kind of looked at earlier.
Elevator master.
We can now turn it on and get to a brand new area.
Just like I planned it.
You planned for
With
this?
quite a difficult encounter, but we're here now. We may as well give it a go. And this particular fight is quite difficult, so I'm gonna leave it in just for, I suppose, guidance. And the main thing is the Pulsework soldiers are strong, but they're slow. These little penguin things do serious damage with magic, and they're relatively quick to take down. So we're gonna go for our most defensive build, which is synergist and medic. So we're getting our buffs while we're healing. We just need to turtle, and like that, again, love the fact that we're able to have that unique dialogue choices of, you know, thanks so much Vanille, take care of yourself Pops. You know, there's later dialogue trees between the two of them where if she heals when, you know, you're in dire straits, it's like, thanks Vanille, I didn't even have to ask, you know. It's just showing their camaraderie, their friendship, and I think it's a really nice benefit in the characterization of all the characters. And I don't think you'd get that same effect if you just had all 6 characters and they were all just interchangeable and you were swapping and changing. And unfortunately, with how the AI prioritizes things, it prioritized healing Sazh, since obviously if you die, it's game over. But Vanille had way too little health not to prioritize healing on herself, so she got taken out in that KO. So that's where not having 2 medics, where at least if Sazh could have thrown an out heal. Now look, I hold my hands up, you know, only thinking of it now, should have maybe thrown a potion, probably would have been the better option there, but alas, didn't think of it. But like, I want to leave this encounter in purely because it's like, yeah, this is challenging. It is by no means an easy fight. And one thing I want to also point out, because spoiler, you do get to like play as nearly any character in as the party leader, but what you'll notice is the enemies will tend to home in on the party leader to attack unless you've a sentinel as like an AI party member, and they provoke all of the damage. But that is where, if you're using Hope, for example, or Vanille as a main character, as the party leader rather, like they need to be much more protected because the enemies will tend to target them. And so having some form of sentinel would be beneficial. And as I say, that was 100 and something. Now a hard fight and by no means a quick fight, but they do give good drops. And here's where we can now activate all these different staircases, so we can access different areas, get different treasure chests. It's gonna be pretty good. But once again, we just have a bomb and a Pulsework soldier, and another one bites the dust. But if you progress this way, we can activate another set of stairs.
Tap a couple keys and
so again, it's just showing all these different layers to the areas that we were, you know, here for. And yet now there's like a bunch of extra different treasures. And I'm sitting here like, these are like 4 or 5 bombs. This is going to be an absolute nightmare. And I died. So now I'm like, okay, we're putting on all the buffs, all the offensive and defensive buffs. We need to try and survive this. And literally 3 bombs were just overwhelmingly powerful because they're all attacking and therefore all giving each other pure healing for maximum power explosions. And we're just trying to keep Vanille alive, barely holding on, and that purely was because of the protection of the shell. Like, there's no shadow of a doubt in my mind that that's why that happened. And now with the debuff there, we're gonna just try and get the other one on. And now it's Ravager. We've every boost under the sun. And so that's where the sols, like the Fortisol, the Agisol, the Deceptisols, all of them coming together just to show you, yeah, when you fully buff your party, this is the kind of crazy damage and survivability you're able to, you know, muster. And collecting some nice iron shells, you might say, oh my god, all of that just for some components. But certain components give more chance for a multiplier, so you need the organics to make the synthetics work really well. Now I kind of got a bit turned about, but essentially from the way you come down and then you went across, you have to kind of come down again and then around to this panel. I'm pointing. I'm actually physically pointing, even though I'm on audio. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like pointing along the map. But
oh, I got this thing figured.
Just use the mini-map as like a reference there in the top right. That's what it's there for. And in that little recess, we now have another treasure chest, but we need to beat 3 of the Pulsework soldiers in order to succeed, which we do. It's just a case of getting 1 to, you know, get staggered. Just go 1 at a time, keep your HP up. And now we have Vibrant Oozes. But you'll notice we got great drops from those 3. So again, you saw me do it earlier. If you run beyond the save point there, hop down, you can then hop back up, reset all of these encounters, go back to those 3 Pulsework soldiers, and have a high chance of dropping spark plugs and other different types of conductors that are really good artificial components for equipment customization. So like that's a great bonus to have. And oh my goodness, the half an hour has flown. But after getting all those different things, I kind of go, okay, let's look at some item customization. And so we have like critical shell. If we upgrade that to like its next tier, that becomes like auto shell. So it's like a really interesting hybrid of Final Fantasy X's customization system where they can gain levels and get like better efficacies, but they're more strictly speaking, you know, just equipment. You can't like fully customize something with like no things, and then with items, you know, make them fireproof or whatever. With this, it's instead, no, you can have a specific equipment, and then with the items, you're able to make it that much stronger. And realistically, the accessories, and as you can see there with like the spark plugs and stuff, you get so much experience when you get that little bit of like an EXP boost. But like, oh, I spoke too much. Talk to you guys next time. Have a good one.
Make my wish come true, let darkness slip aside, hiding all the hope, marking what we treasure.